Hello, welcome to my channel. This video that you're about to watch is actually from my stream where I talked about the tactics of England during the watch along for the England game. So if you like this type of content, maybe subscribe to the channel and check out my watch alongs or stuff like that. It's always fun to chat with you guys and talk about football during the games, especially during boring games like that England-Serbia game. But yeah, enjoy the video and I'll see you there. So I've pulled out the tactical pad. I can't see the chat right now because the tactical pad is going over it, but I'll check back on the chat in a second if you guys are saying anything. And let's see. So Kane goes forward, Saka goes forward, Foden goes forward, and let's just talk about the problem with this lineup. Yeah? And this is pretty much all the same problems that I talked about in my video about how to fix England, and it's even worse. So what is the problem with this? Well, let me explain. Foden wants to step into midfield. Saka wants to step into midfield. Harry Kane wants to step into midfield. John Stones wants to step in midfield. What the actual fuck is this? What the actual fuck is this? Gareth Southgate has been manager for 6 years, or coach, or whatever you want to call it, and still he makes the same fucking mistake. This midfield is more crowded than a fucking Arby's at 9/11. There it goes, Serbia's going forwards. Should fly reach? Oh, almost. So how do you fix this problem? First of all, if you want to play Stones, you can't play a double pivot. Unless Stones is the double pivot. And what do I mean by that? Trent Alexander-Arnold, you go off the pitch for a second. And then Guehi here. And let's just keep Saka and Foden on the wings right now, because it's getting a bit weird to look at. But if you want Stones on the pitch, then you can't have Alexander-Arnold as a double pivot. You can't have a double pivot unless Stones is the double pivot. Right? Actually, there is one other way. Let's actually talk about that. Let's say this is the theoretical lineup. This won't work because Saka and Foden both want to go into midfield, yeah? But there is a way, and that is by playing Grealish here and by playing any winger. I guess Eze, because Eze likes to stay on the wing. Let's say Eze is on the wing here. Then you can have Stones step into midfield. But the problem with this is do you have Trent Alexander-Arnold push up? That is the question. Do you have Trent pushing up here for so right. This is possible. I guess do you move Trent Alexander-Arnold up is the question, I suppose. I would say no. I don't think that's I don't think that would work. But do tell me, and of course I'll check on chat as regularly as I can. Let me see here. Yeah, no new chats yet. But yeah, I can't see the chat because of the tactical pad being over it. So I might be a bit late with responding sometimes. It works, right? It works. And if you don't want Trent Alexander-Arnold becoming this high played, you can obviously put someone else on the pitch. Like Mainu, you can put Palmer maybe on the pitch. You can put Watkins on the pitch. But my problem is, this sacrifices both Foden and Saka. And Foden and Saka are two of the best players at England. Foden, Bellingham and Saka. Those three players are the future of England. And English fans are really gonna have to accept that you need all three of them. Because English fans, they all want to think, no, my player is the best. You need all four. So you don't play like this. How do you fix this clogging of the midfield without sacrificing Saka, without sacrificing Foden, without sacrificing Grealish, without sacrificing Bellingham? That's 4 players you have to protect while changing the system entirely in a way that might not suit them. And here is, in my opinion, how you do that. First of all, no Trent Alexander-Arnold. Why the fuck is he on the pitch? Like, what the actual fuck? I'm not even gonna bother talking too much about it. You can play Foden here now. And then what you can do is have Saka play here. And what you're gonna do is... Where do I put Eze? You can go here. And Kobe Mino can come on as a substitute. Palmer can come on as a substitute. For Kobe Mino will be a right substitute. And Palmer will be a Saka or Foden substitute. You can do that perfectly. And you can also bring Eze on as a substitute for one of these two. So, now how does this prevent the midfield from getting clogged up? Because this is not too dissimilar as to what England has maybe played beforehand. And, well, the answer is, first of all, you need to make a decision. Do you want John Stones stepping up into midfield? Yes or no? Either, that is going to change entirely how this English team is going to play and function. So, do you want him stepping up into midfield? And by the way, I forgot to change the score, I just realized. It doesn't matter. I'll get back to that later. Anyhow, so do you want him stepping up into midfield? I don't know. I don't think it's quite... I think it works well at Manchester City because there is an entire system around it. But I don't think that... I just think at England, you don't have enough time to practice this system. So maybe just have John Stones stay in his normal role. And now, what can you do here? What can you do here? First of all, you're keeping Stones in this position. That way, you only have 3 people in midfield right now. And second of all, Bellingham is the 8, Foden is the 10. And then what you do is you have Foden rotate with Saka. You have these two rotating with each other. Only one of them can be in midfield at the same time. Change with each other all game long. They can rotate with each other all game long. But only one can be in midfield at a single time. Right now, what we see is Saka, Foden, Bellingham all crowding this midfield at the same time. You can't do that. You can't do that. Have Foden here, Saka here. One of them can be in midfield at one time. Have them rotate with each other. And if they don't get along, play neither of them. Punish them both. Then, how do you progress from here? So, okay, now Harry Kane can step into this midfield. He can step into this midfield because previously this midfield was crowded by 5, 6, sometimes 7 people. Now it's only 4 people. That is a lot more manageable. And now Saka can run into the central space, or Grealish, or whoever you have out on the wing here. Just make sure it's a proper winger, right? They can run into this space here while Kane drops deep. And then you can have your fullbacks pushing up high. Instantly you have a system that is way more fluid. And again, the midfield is not getting clogged up. At most, there are 4 people in the midfield at once. Nevermore, that is a poor free kick by Bellingham. At most, there's 4 people in the midfield at once. Never more than 4 people. Never more than 4 people. None of that 5, 6 people in midfield at once. It just doesn't work. You get in each other's way. And now, this is just the basic starting lineup. Who the exact players are, like Guehi, Trippier, Walker, Stones, you can debate that, right? But there are a few players who always have to be in on the selection. The entire midfield, I'd say, Rice, Bellingham, Foden, they always have to be in, as well as Saka. And I don't think Kane is mandatory. You can rotate Kane, you can rotate Grealish. But you can rotate Trippier. And what you can do is substitutions, right? Let's say Rice. You can substitute Rice with Mainoo. I don't know. Do I have anything that indicates substituting? Let's see. You can substitute Rice with Mainoo. Let's see. Come on. How does this work? How does this work? Like this? No. The other way around. Fuck. I am stupid. Okay, there we go. They can rotate. Palmer can rotate with Foden. Palmer can rotate with Saka. Eze can rotate for the white spot. And instantly this is a lot more... you have a lot of rotation that you can do here. You can bring on Jared Bowen. Where is Bowen? On this left hand side. You can also bring in, well, Gordon, I suppose, if you want to play him rather high. I suppose you can bring on Gordon here, but I'm not a big fan of that. But I guess it can work. You can bring on Tony for Kane. And Serbia's going up, and Serbia, that was a decent chance. Gallagher shouldn't be in the fucking team. Konsa, I don't like him that much. And Trent Alexander-Arnold, he is a player in case someone else gets injured, right? He's in case someone else gets injured. He is not a starting player. And Watkins can also be rotated with Kane. And now, what do we have with this English team? We have, and I'm not talking about the defense too much, by the way, because defending isn't a problem for England. That's why I don't talk about the defending too much. But, right, as I was saying, now you have this fluid system, increased fluidity, and if you bring Mino into the pitch for Rice, or even for Bellingham, to be fair, if you bring him into the pitch for Bellingham as well, let me show it. If you bring him in for Bellingham, it's the exact same system. If you bring in Palmer for Foden or Palmer for Saka, it's the exact same system. If you bring in Eze for Saka, exact same system. What you can also do is bring Eze in for Saka, or for Foden I mean, and then have Saka play into midfield and Eze out wide. You can also do that. But I'm not sure that that will work out very well. But you can do it. And it will still be the exact same system. You can bring on Tony or Watkins. It will be the exact same system. You can bring on Bowen and Gordon. Exact same system. And that's so important in international football. Because in international football you have limited time to establish a system with your players. So you need to have the same system every game in and out. Because otherwise it becomes too difficult for your players to keep up, and they make mistakes, they are always out of position then, and it becomes difficult for them, But in this system, I have solved 3 issues without doing any hard thinking. This is all basic stuff, yeah? This is stuff that anyone who watches football for 10 years will understand. This is not that complicated, like, come on. And I have fixed all 3 biggest problems with England. I have fixed the clogging of the midfield here. I have fixed the lack of rotation that England has for their players. I have fixed the problem with a lack of directness and a lack of fluidity. All 3 problems that England is currently struggling with. Solved by basic tactics that any fucking academy player knows. The current system that England is defending in is a 5-1-3-1. And I don't agree with this defensive system at all. And the reason why England defends this way, but first actually let's talk about the weakness in this system. You have a pocket of space here and you have a pocket of space here, and we all know Saka ain't tracking back and Foden ain't tracking back. And Bellingham, the one who is actually going to track back, can't cover both of these spaces at once. And Alexander-Arnold and Bellingham are probably going to run in each other's way trying to cover these spaces. And Kane is up there. You don't have a lot of pressing with Kane. Kane alone is having to press. So how do you fix this issue, right? How do you fix this issue? Well, first of all, take Alexander-Arnold off the fucking pitch and do away with this. And then Rice can play here. Yes? Bellingham can play here. Yes? Now, Saka can play here. Saka is very good at defending. And no way we are going into, yes, you can see, you can tell, and yes, way we are doing this, we are going into a 4-4-2. And Foden will not be here, because I would have Grealish on the pitch, and have Grealish here. And that's how the defensive shape of England would look like, with Foden floating around Kane. Kane would be the deeper one of the two. And what does this do for us? First of all, it makes us a lot more compact. You see, we are a lot more compact. Where are the spaces? The only space is in between here. But that's on paper, yeah? Because realistically, this is the tightest area with the centre backs who close in really quickly on this space. So what this does is, it forces opponents to go out wide. And if you go out wide, you can force your opponents to go in one-on-one duels with Kyle Walker. You isolate them with Kyle Walker and Trippier basically. And you force them to take on your fullbacks. If you are confident that your fullbacks are of high quality, which England should be, then this system works. So that's the defensive system. But what it also does is, again, this is very compact, it's difficult to play through this. There are no spaces here or here. There's no space here to move through, which there's no space between the lines basically, which was a big problem in the previous system that I showed, which is currently being used. And Kane now is no longer alone. Now Kane has a friend with him, Phil Foden, and that friend can be anyone. That friend can be Saka, that friend can be Palmer, whoever you have on the pitch, right? And now Foden is with him. Foden is playing deeper than Kane. Why? Because Foden can still step into this formation and provide more cover. But what Foden can also do is go up and press with Harry Kane. And this way, England has more of a pressing shape. And let's imagine something. So Kane here, Foden here. And let's imagine an opponent. And let's imagine this system. This is the system the opponent plays. A very basic system. And I'm picking a basic system because I could talk about every system that has ever existed in the history of football. But we don't have enough time for that in this stream. Okay, what does this actually look like now when you're defending? Where is the ball? Here. Let's say the ball is here. Now, Foden can cover these lines. Foden can cover... words are difficult today, sorry. Foden can cover these lines while Kane goes up to press. Where can number 3 go? He can't go here. He can maybe go here if he passes inside. But then Saka or Bellingham will cover him. So, it's... Oh, that was a decent cross by Lukic and Stones almost spilled that. And he can't really go to either of these sides. He can try a risky pass to the number 10, but it might not come off. And then they lose possession and England counters, right? So that's not preferable. So you have to play the ball out wide here. And you're essentially forcing the ball into this area and this area. Very basic tactics again. And I know, these are very basic tactics, but this is what Southgate gets wrong. Southgate gets these basic tactics wrong, which is quite frankly unbelievable. But you can also transition from a defensive shape into a pressing shape from here. And let me show you how. Say number 3 has the ball, and instead of passing to the number 4, which would force Foden to go here and Kane to go here, he goes to the number 2. Okay, what happens then? Well, now he's trying to go to number 2 because he wants to go up the pitch. And let's say number 2 here has a poor touch or it takes a bit too long to decide what to do. Kane is going here, Foden is covering this number 6 likely, Bellingham steps up, Saka goes and press, and Walker goes here. And immediately, well, let me put them back in position. Maybe I'll show it with lines. That will maybe be easier to understand. That will be easier to understand, I think, if I show it with lines. So let's do that. So Saka presses up. Oh, that's not a line. Saka presses up. Here. Saka presses up like this. Oh, come on. This is getting annoying. I'm sorry that this is so clumsy. Saka goes up here. Bellingham covers this. Foden covers the 6. Kane covers the 3. And now, what you are forcing is the player with the ball either has to go backwards to the goalkeeper, go backwards with the ball and try to find the fourth. And you are creating a system where you push back your opponent. And that's just what England lacks. Because let me show you the system earlier again and let me explain why England currently lacks this. Like such. And now, what you create with this system, to be fair, is it becomes very difficult here to create chances over here. It's very difficult. Theoretically. And let me explain why it's theoretically very difficult. Let's see. Where are the spaces in this system? Here. 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 There's a lot more space. Where were the spaces in the previous system that I just showed you? Only on the wings. Now you've created two half spaces that previously did not exist. Just two half spaces that previously did not exist. And in the previous system that I showed, you don't have those half spaces. But in this system that is currently being used by England, they exist. And let me put Alexander-Arnold a bit more centrally. Now, let's imagine that number 3 has the ball. And let's copy what I did earlier. Number 3 passes the ball over here. And Saka goes to cover to number 2. First of all, it's a big distance to cover, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. Now, Bellingham. Where does Bellingham go? Does Bellingham cover the 6 and gain the 3? Okay, then Alexander-Arnold covers the 10. But the 10 is in a better position, first of all, but let's ignore that. Now, maybe the 11 steps inside, and now you have a lot of space for the number 2 to drive up the pitch suddenly. Okay, so that won't work. You can't press like that. And, I mean, if you can't press like that, how do you press? And that's the problem. You don't. You can't have a consistent press in this system. And it's the same story, but it's the same story on the other side, obviously, because it's symmetric systems here. And this system just doesn't work. Just stick with a basic 4-4-2. And I'll show you why even it doesn't work. So let's say the number 2 drives up. Like we have this, we create this scenario, right? And Saka goes here, Walker goes man for man. You just go man for man now, right? As they push up into the box. Guehi is going to cover the 6 here. Trippier is going to cover the 7, which might or might not cut inside. And Foden and Bellingham Bellingham is going to drop a bit deeper probably. Foden is going to be here doing nothing. Kane is going to be here doing nothing. And then you have a system somewhat like this, or a situation somewhat like this. Now, what does this look like? You have this scenario, which, again, as I previously explained, it comes about because the way that you press in this system, it just doesn't function well. So now, because of your dysfunctional pressing, you have created this scenario. It looks good on paper, right? It looks good on paper. You have a lot of people in the box. Why doesn't it work? Why does England, every time they play this system, why do they concede goals? Why does it not work? Well, first of all, Walker is being isolated with other players. And Walker often makes dumb decisions. No offense to Walker, but it's true. Now, let's say the fullback tries to cross it in. And Walker slides in, gets a corner. Because Walker, well, just tries to win the ball back. But he has to think more about the future. He has to try to put the ball out for a throw in. Walker doesn't think about that. Walker just tries to win the ball. Now you have a corner. Voila, you create a difficult set piece. If Walker is too late, you can cross it in. Okay, there's a lot of people in the box, but remember, the number 10 can always sort in the box. The number 11 can always sort in the box. So this is only a lot more people on paper. You can also, you just create a situation where you have isolated your fullback here. And you can't bring Saka down here, because then you create room over here. And then you can go backwards and cross one in from here, from maybe a better position even. Or you can play one straight to your number 9, if the number 10 is smart and goes up. Because that forces Trent Alexander-Arnold to go with him. And then that number 9, if that number 6 comes storming, and he lays it off, you have a shooting possibility. Goes off the number 6, of Rice in this situation. Voila, suddenly you have a corner. And that's the problem with England's shape. It all originates with the pressing. You can't press well in this shape, which means you are constantly giving up space. Whenever a player leaves their position to press, you create too much space. In a 4-4-2, the reason why 4-4-2 is so popular as a defensive shape is because it is so easy and because it works well when you press. That is why. And it's easy. Yes, that's why we use it. It's easy and effective. That is why England has to play a 4-4-2 rather than this stupid 5-1-3-1 that they currently use. It just doesn't work. Especially, imagine that this is Spain, right? Imagine that this is Spain. Rodri can score a goal easily. Morata can score a goal easily. Luis can score a goal easily. Lamine Yamal can score a goal easily. Nico Williams, these are all players on the pitch that can score a goal. So you might get away with it against teams like Serbia. But when you play against Spain, do you really want to give this much space to all these players that I just mentioned? No, of course you don't. But this system, there's no pressing, there is no contingency, and it's too complicated as well. It's too complicated. International football does not allow for complicated systems like this. You have to keep it simple. And that's really the problem with England. And I've rambled on a lot now with the tactics here. And let me see if Jet has anything to say. Let's see, has Jet got anything to say? It's a good question though, it's a good question because I'm having to think about it. And if I have to think about the question, it means it's a good question. I think we keep it mostly the same, right? Mostly the same with Bellingham being the deeper player, Foden over here, and then Gordon over here. I think we probably play something like this again. He doesn't really hold the width like Grealish does. He doesn't invert either like Saka does. So what does Gordon do? Well, let's go up on the pitch. And I don't know why this goalkeeper is still around here. Let's go up on the pitch. And... well, no. Let's talk about defending first, actually. Let's talk about defending first. Because this is the defending sheet. So I'll open another one for the attacking. Pressing. I mean, I've already explained this, so I won't go over it again. Oh, Rice almost lost the ball there. I won't explain the pressing again, because I've already done that. But you pretty much press in the same way with Gordon on or off the pitch. But I think what is more interesting in this shape is, first of all, will Gordon be able to come back as effectively? Let's ask that question first. Grealish can do that defending very well. Can Gordon do that at the same effect? I don't know. I don't think he can, quite frankly. But what he can do better is going forwards. So, for the team that has a lot of the ball, maybe it's fine to concede a bit in defense. So let's open another link of this and let's talk about it. Yeah. And what it changes is not so much in the midfield or anything that it changes. Because with Gordon in here, you pretty much have the exact same stuff going on. And sorry, I'm supposed to be talking to the camera right now, but I am watching the game. Sorry if I'm not talking directly to you. I am focused on the game sometimes. My apologies for that. What was I saying? So yeah, you're pretty much going to have the same system for here and for like this area. Let's say this entire area is pretty much going to play the same way, right? Attacking, defending, it's all going to be the same in this area. The difference is going to be in this area. And even this area is going to play the same. This area plays the exact same in this system. The difference becomes in this area, with this half space. And what it allows you to do is, now Gordon can go inside here. He will take on his man more than Jack Grealish does, first of all. He will try to cross in more. So if Gordon is going to cross in, oh, that was a good attack there by Serbia. Got intercepted the final ball though. And Serbia is going forwards again. And Vlahovic got shoot. That's not Vlahovic, I'm sorry, that's someone else. That was Mitrovic, I think. Short of shot. What was I saying? So, Gordon can cut inside, do that kind of stuff. He is a lot more explosive than Jack Grealish is, right? Because if you have Grealish here, Grealish will hold the width. And what you can do then is, okay, you know he's going to hold the width. You have a lot more space to work the ball in midfield. And with Grealish holding the width, yeah, you can find more passes like this, right? You can find more through balls like this. That's what Grealish holding the width does for you. And it really creates more space for you to work with. With Gordon, you do something different. If Gordon is on the pitch, where is Gordon? Here he is. Instead of trying to hold the width as much, you're going to try to bomb this box. So you're going to try to fill the 16 up. What that means is Bellingham, maybe Saka, maybe Foden, doesn't really matter, is going to go into the pitch. When this happens, you're going to need someone in midfield to stop counter-attacks from happening. So when Gordon is on the ball, Saka is going to have to drop more into midfield to get it with Rice. Saka is probably going to play about This area and Royce is going to have to step up a little bit. And you might even see John Stone stepping up to become that pivot to create a midfield in this way. Now, there are problems with this, and I'll get to that in a bit. But let's talk about the strengths first. First of all, you can cross more balls in, obviously. You can have Walker push up the pitch more, but I don't like this already. Just looking at this, it's disgusting, so let's not do that. You can have Saka playing in this area, more here, to pick up crosses, and Saka is fast, right? So if the cross goes wrong, he will be fast to get back, right? And Stones can step up into midfield to help Rice, can also stay in his position. Doesn't matter. I think both can work. But that's the difference, yeah? With Gordon, you're gonna cross in the ball more, you're gonna try to bump the midfield, and you're not going to try to find through balls in the midfield itself. Which, that might work against, like if you're struggling to build through a team, let's say you're playing against Spain, right? And you're not quite getting through them, you might want to switch to a system like that. Not this exact system maybe, but a system that is similar to that, with Gordon on the pitch or Jared Bowen, probably Gordon is better, and then you might be able to get through a poor Spanish, or like through a Spanish team if you were failing to build up through them. And Spain is just an example, like France or Germany, excuse me. That's how you're gonna get through them then. So to answer your question of earlier, that is Gordon in this system. So I don't know if you have any more questions about that or anything, but that's Gordon in that system. Thank you for watching the video to the end, and that's the entire video. I'm sorry that it ends so abruptly. Again, this is edited from a stream. Sorry that it took a while to edit as well. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel, liking me, and checking out some of my other content. I appreciate it a ton, and it helps out the channel so much. And I'll see you on the next one.